phone, please, on the case of Vick versus Vinco, starting first with the plaintiffs.
Shadwrick Vick.
Thank you.
Darryl Genis and pro per.
Thank you. Mr. Muntz, are you on the phone?
Hi, ma'am. Yes, I'm on Blue Jeans.
Thank you. Do you have video? Yes. And for the defendants, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Kimberly Stein and Gus Flangus on behalf of the defendants, Vinco Ventures, Roderick Vanderbilt, Lisa King, Brian Hart, Jesse Law, Richard Levitchin, and Theodore Farnsworth. And Mr. Law is present with us in the courtroom today.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And Mr. Vanderbilt, Ms. King, Mr. Hart, Mr. Levitchin are all with us via Blue Jeans, and Mr. Farnsworth will hopefully be joining later, but he got held up in dental surgery.
Of course. All right. So I just wanted the record to be complete here. This hearing is on so little notice, but I want to treat it probably as a preliminary hearing. But plaintiff, please outline the relief you're seeking.
Yes, thank you.
I've read everything, but there's a lot here going on.
Yes, Your Honor. The most draconian measure that we're seeking would be for the court to order that the shareholders meeting that's currently scheduled to take place on April 27th be ordered not to take place until further order of the court. However, as I just indicated, I think that's rather draconian, and there are other less draconian ways to address the needs of the plaintiffs, and those would be in the following order, and this is ascending. So block the meeting entirely, and that's not really what I'm seeking. If we can find another easier, softer way. One of those would be for the court to order that they can't hold the vote on items 1 through 11 inclusive, but I don't think that that's necessary, because item 1 is either to vote back in the existing board with a yes vote, or to abstain. There's no option to vote them out. And so I don't see a harm in people either voting for them if they want them, or to vote to abstain if they want, but we're going to have to address that issue at a later date. And so the least draconian way to deal with this, I think, is for the court to say, you can hold the meeting, and you can take a vote on action item number 1, and you can take a vote on action item number 11. Item number 11 seeks to have shareholders approve review of compensation for directors at either 1-year intervals or 3-year intervals. And again, I don't see a harm in taking a vote on that. Action items 2 through 10 inclusive all negatively impact common stock shareholders in a way that would cause irreparable injury. And so I feel that at a bare minimum, it would be necessary for the court to order that the vote on items 2 through 10 be stayed until further order of the court. And we'll address why at a later point in detail why I feel that way. And then finally, there's a request that the court order Vinco to contact the stock trading listing agency, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, either both, whatever is appropriate, as they apparently did in the past, to order all trading of all equities involved with Vinco, whether it be common stock shares or whether it be futures, whether they be calls or puts, until further order of the court. And I think ultimately that would be important, and it may be appropriate to make that order here today, or it may be something that we want to come back and revisit very soon. And then lastly, there is a request that a receiver be put into place. Now, we don't have an investment in requesting specifically that Ross J. Miller be appointed. The reason that we named him by name is because in the first incantation of this lawsuit, that's what happened. And so he's familiar with the parties, he's familiar with the problems, and he, I think, would be a good choice. However, there is a conflict potentially, because apparently there's an issue of non-payment and there's a lawsuit that was filed, and so it could be argued, and probably would be argued, that he could be conflicted out, but that's a conflict that could be waived. And if it can't be, I see that Ms. Stein is shaking her head no. That's kind of interrupting me. that's something that you can determine. I have great faith that you will listen to both sides and you'll make a ruling that is fair and just under the facts and laws. You understand it?
All right. Is there a brief response?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, yes, yes. There was one other thing. I'm sorry, Ms. Stein. My co-pro per plaintiff reminded me that we want to have a special master appointed for purposes of vote. And that would be especially critical if the court were disinclined to stay the vote on items 2 through 10. And we can articulate in more particularity the reasons why we feel that is an absolute necessity.
Thank you.
Anything else that you want to add before? I don't want to interrupt Ms. Stein again.
All right, Ms.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, first of all, I want to deal with a couple of housekeeping matters. We requested cost bonds in this matter, and they filed
Have they been
apparently.
filed?
Well, they filed something last night without serving us, but they did not file proofs of receipt, and when we look on Odyssey, there is no proof that they actually delivered the check to the clerk's office and there was a receipt of payment. So there's a check, and again, we weren't even served with this. We had to find it this morning, that they supposedly filed that, but we don't see any proof that it was actually posted with the clerk's office, and unless it's posted, we don't believe we can go forward as a matter of housekeeping.
Have you seen the pre-printed receipts that were filed?
No.
Do you want a chance to boot up and see those?
We tried to pull them, Your Honor. The only thing we pulled was a copy of a check, and they said that the receipts were with the clerk's office.
There's something filed.
Okay, that was last evening, right? That does not have receipts attached. They say in that those receipts are in the clerk's office. It only has a check attached.
All right. And are you prepared to respond to that,
Yes.
Mr. Genis?
So,
Or-
we actually never received an order for the court as for a bond and bond amount, but we still went ahead just because of the priority of the issue
No,
and
no.
paid the bond.
This is a statutory, they had the right to make this demand.
Yeah, I understand. And we did make the bond payment, and we did file the receipts, but the statute that was listed didn't indicate that we had to put the receipts in.
Don't go to that. The question is the
I
receipts.
had-
Do you have them with you?
Well, we filed them.
The statute.
Do you have a copy with you?
Yeah, I should have.
Okay, if you have a copy with you, please produce them and we'll
I
have it to Ms. Stein.
left those at the.
Okay.
There's nothing from the clerk's office showing that there's anything been filed, Your Honor, that they haven't receipts, because it would show, as you know in Odyssey, that there's been a receipt of money, and there's no receipt of $10,500.
Your Honor, if I could just address this really quickly.
Does somebody have a laptop to boot up so she can see?
Yeah, I can pull that up.
Yeah. While Mr. Vick is pulling that up, we came to court early yesterday, specifically to make sure that all of that was in
I think
order.
I saw you in the courtroom yesterday.
Yes, I was not in a suit and I tried not to be disruptive, but
Yeah, the court's always open. You do
I understand.
work here.
yes. But what I was saying is, one of the reasons that we came yesterday was because of the fact that I'm not familiar with the local rules and procedures, and I wanted to make sure that if there was anything that I needed to do to make sure that this hearing that you put on calendar on special notice would not be disrupted. So we found out that the bond issue was, in my mind, it wasn't really super clear. I read the statute. It actually uses the word may, permissive, not the mandatory shall. But everybody speaks to it as though it's mandatory, and so I'll accept that. I'm not here to argue about it. We posted it, they gave us receipts, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to make copies of the receipts last night. I believe we made copies and refiled it again as a declaration this morning with the receipts attached, and my understanding was that when the clerk got it, that they would email everybody, and that way Ms. Stein would have it directly. But apparently that didn't happen, I don't know. But anyways, let's get the receipts.
We did post a declaration with the stub that was recorded to the court, and we do have receipts here that show that it was paid yesterday, if you want to see those.
And your comment,
Step over
please?
shorter.
I'm asking for the receipts because they have, and I'm also asking that they had an issue with service, and we're not gonna go further into that, but they didn't serve us with anything. They haven't shown they posted it. I need to see the actual receipts. I would also ask that they continue to actually serve us if they're going to do documents. More importantly, because of a prior court, they continue to serve my clients. I asked them not to serve them because they're represented. But I would ask, as a housekeeping matter, apparently from the clerk's office, we can't take off the service of my clients. They can actually go in and take me off, but when the court's serving, I need an order from the court as a housekeeping matter to take off my individual clients from the service slip, if that's okay. But if they would please show me the receipts, I'd be fine, but they're not filed with the court, and we need those, as you know. I need to see that before we move forward.
Yeah.
Your Honor, while Mr. Vick is showing the receipts, as a housekeeping matter, I would think that if we're filing a bond or posting a bond with the
Can I-
court.
There's too much going on here. These two need to be able to talk.
Okay.
They need to be able to hear anything that's said. You know, why don't I take a 5-minute recess so that you guys can have a chance to look at that?
Thank you.
And if for some reason that doesn't work, you can come up here and use this screen. I'll be back in a few minutes, or as soon as you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor.